Final speaker in this, who's going to get you to your break, is Tina Swanson. She's going to talk about how entertainment venues like this and this one can and are radically reducing their use of disposables and so reducing their carbon footprint. Tina Swanson has over 20 years experience in sales and marketing, customer experience and process improvement, Six Sigma. Prior to joining Our World, her company, she led sales, marketing, and sales enablement and customer experience teams for General Electric, Ceridian, Restaurant Technologies. She has a passion for expanding the value that we bring to customers every day through process rigor, exceptional service, and quality products. Welcome, Tina Swanson.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. Not only are these subjects that we're talking about throughout the day just super important, there's also this factor with me where it's San Francisco or Minnesota in March. So I choose San Francisco. So thank you for having me. All right, so I'm going to go through who Our World is quickly. So Our World is basically, our entire mission is to eliminate single-use waste. And we're doing so by creating the national wash infrastructure to be able to bring reuse to every venue across the United States. We got into the San Francisco market. There we go. There's just a little bit of a delay. We came to San Francisco in the fall of 2023. And since we have been here, we've already eliminated 200,000 plus cups from going into the landfill. As I mentioned, we're building the national infrastructure. And so you all, I mean, we're amongst an audience here that I think gets it. But the question we get asked frequently is who cares, right? Why do we care about eliminating single-use waste? And the reality is it's not just the landfill and the fact that, that is a precious resource for us, but it's also about the CO2 emissions. So as you all know, when the manufacturing process for single-use waste requires and uses a lot of CO2 emissions, as does landfill space. And so we're really focused on both of those as we're looking at cleaning up our planet and making it a great place for us and our children and our grandchildren to live for years and years. Just quick show of hands. The question is, well, why don't we just switch then to recyclables or compost? How many of you guys have ever been to an event where you see somebody walk up to a waste station that has landfill and compost and recycling, and they don't have a clue what to do, right? It's probably me more frequently than anyone else. There's just this huge sort of education gap around what to do with your various materials, and especially as we are bringing in more and more compostables, recyclables, and things like that in the various sort of food containers and cups. And the reality is at most large events, most events that have any sizable audience whatsoever, everything is getting commingled. And once it gets commingled, it's all going to landfill. And so how do we solve for that? We solve for that by reuse. And why reuse? So we've talked about less CO2 emissions. We've talked about obviously the toxins, the chemicals that are used in producing and in breaking down single-use waste. But also what we found, and this was a learning for us, is that as we've implemented reuse in hundreds and hundreds of venues, we actually see same per head sales go up because it's a better drinking and eating experience for the guests. So in addition to obviously the environmental concerns that we're trying to address, we're also wanting to make this a better experience for the venues that we bring it to and also for the guests that are enjoying it. So I don't know if this is going to work. This is the challenge with putting in embedding video. No, it's not working. I was going to say, generally when we get objections from venues, it's because there's this imagination gap. venues are not used to doing reuse, and so they think it's too difficult, right? It's going to be more work for my folks. It's not going to be easy to do. So I was going to show you a video of how it works in action. But I will, you guys, I think, will get these presentations. So once you get it, you can click on the video and it will show you our world in action. So I mentioned at the beginning that we're creating the national infrastructure. Right now, we are in 7 markets. So we're in Seattle, we're in Denver, we're in Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Minneapolis, and DC. And we are in the process of expanding into 7 more markets in the next 12 to 18 months. But ultimately, we have sort of a infrastructure build plan all the way through 2027, which will hit every major market across the US. And we don't just service, festivals and things like that. If you think about any entity that has a food and beverage component to it, so everything from we're in movie theaters, we're in stadiums, we're in arenas, we're in corporate campuses, zoos, aquariums, anywhere, like I said, that has a food and beverage component that currently uses single-use disposable waste. And we're really proud of sort of what differentiates us. We were the very first reuse provider in 2017. There is now over 150 reuse providers. We have probably the most experience, though, from a sustainability perspective. So our CEO and founder, Mike Martin, has been in the sustainability space for 30 plus years. Started a company, an actual sustainability company, back, like I said, 34 years ago, where basically we partnered with artists. So everyone from U2 to the Rolling Stones, Jack Johnson, Dave Matthews, the list goes on and on and on. And essentially what he did was green their tours. So everything from the equipment they were using, the travel path that the tour was set, and also trying to purify the waste streams. And what he learned was that at live events, you really can't purify waste streams because everything gets commingled, like I mentioned. But because we've been doing it the longest, we have really made every mistake in the book, and we have optimized the process so that it's easy for guests, easy for fans, and also easy for venue operators. And this is how it works. So it's very easy. We deliver 7 days a week. We pick up 7 days a week. We deliver clean, sanitized cups and foodware items. So everything from clamshell containers to plates and food boats, things like that. The venue serves the food and the beverage out of those containers. We provide the venue with return bins that are very specific to reuse. We provide them with training, with signage. We connect with their marketing folks ahead of time, and we provide them with a social media toolkit, FAQs, everything that they need basically to train the team and to train the staff. We pick up the dirties, we bring them back to our industrial wash hubs, and we wash, sanitize, quality inspect, repack, and redeliver. And we do it again and again and again. And our foodware and our cups are designed in commercial dishwashers to last at least 300 uses, and in a home dishwasher, like 1,000 uses. One of the things I think is I feel most proud of and special is that our tagline is the most good. And so everything that we do along the lines of reuse is done so with the whole premise of doing the most good. So we build our industrial wash hubs and economic development zones. We employ second chance folks, give them a purpose and a mission. We partner with Ecolab, and Ecolab, as you all probably know, is the #1 sanitization company in the world, to make sure that our wash facilities, our wash technology is, we use the least water use, the least amount of chemicals, and we service all of our venues 365 days a year, 7 days a week, delivering and picking up. So we make it easy. I mentioned, we'll go through this one quickly, but we're not just a sort of a vendor or a provider. We actually partner. We partner with cities. We partner with, so we're strong partners with the city of San Francisco and SFE and the various entities. We partner with artists. We partner with NGOs that are focused on improving the planet and the single-use waste crisis. And we make sure that our goals are continuously aligned. And this is just a quick snapshot of how we activate at venues. So you can see down here in the bottom left, this is probably the most important part of our program, and that's the education, making sure that food and beverage teams understand and are aligned with the mission, making sure that the janitorial staff is aligned with the mission, any guest services, everybody's basically moving towards the same goal, which is to get the highest return rate that we can. And so now that hopefully we created some reuse ambassadors in the room, I wanted to equip you guys with some of the common objections that you'll hear out there if you're talking about reuse and why reuse makes sense. And one of them is your very own Warfield, and that is people are going to take the cups, people are going to take the containers, or they're going to throw them away. The reality is, because of everything that we do in a venue around education, signage, all of those sorts of things, we get really high return rates. So across our hundreds and hundreds of venues, our average return rate as a company is 94.6%. When you have a venue that really does it right and really focuses on it, you can get return rates up to 98%, which is what the Warfield here in San Francisco is getting. The other objection we get is that it costs too much. And the reality is, reuse is more expensive than single use. Government subsidizes single use far more than they do reuse, and that's just a reality. But most of our customers add a sustainability fee, a small sustainability fee, and they are not shy about it. They advertise it, that we are charging 50 cents per transaction for every food and beverage transaction that we do in order to keep our venue green. And guests love it. They'll pay for it. 5+ million transactions, we've never had a guest complain. One other way that they can do this is through, if it's a festival, that sort of a thing, is they can add, like a $5 to the ticket fee, and that helps them. One of our customers, Golden Voice, does this for all of their festivals, and it helps them fund the entire sustainability program. So water stations, our program, things like that. So lastly, in summary, reuse is a critical part, obviously, to moving to a circular economy. It helps in a whole slew of ways, but we mentioned, CO2 emissions, single-use waste, landfills, all of those sorts of things. A lot of cities are already doing it. San Francisco, in particular, I think you guys well know that they are providing a $5,000 incentive for any venue that is willing to pilot reuse. So that's always super helpful. And then I know in San Francisco, in particular, that this saving the planet is very, very near and dear to your all hearts, as it is to ours. And so I've no doubt you guys will be a pioneer in really launching reuse as just table stakes across the U.S. So thank you.
Take a couple questions.
Yeah.
Other questions in the house?
One over here.
See too many.
Oh, I have a question. I'm here.
Got it.
What are the environmental and health impacts of reusing a plastic cup?
A couple things. So first of all, I'll be the first to say we hate plastic. We absolutely hate plastic, as do, I think, most people in the room. The reality is, for the audiences that we serve, it's the lesser of all evils. So we can't, if you think about the different materials that you could use, stainless steel as an example, glass, they don't work in large venues, right? Because of the breakability perspective, as well as, a lot of artists won't even allow anything heavy because they can be used as projectiles. So we use PP5 for our cups, which is the healthiest alternative, if you will, for plastic. And they are fully recyclable. We actually upcycle them at the end of their life, and we turn them into like our return bins. So what we try to do with them is essentially have a complete circular environment for the cups and the serveware as well. Yeah.
Going to be the last question, I think, Larry. Who's got it? Go ahead.
Sorry, that was actually my question, but riffing off of that, as far as so I live in the city of Petaluma, and there's actually a closed loop next gen consortium that's coming and going to do a pilot program using the polypropylene cups in August for 3 months.
Amazing.
And they're working with community groups and everything. You can actually come to the 2024 Zero Waste Symposium on May 2nd for North Bay. Sorry, shameless plug. I'm the chair, I can't help it. But so I'm just wondering, as far as like your outreach methods, kind of going through the steps of implementing a program, and what are the most impactful ways for marketing, education, outreach?
Yeah, so whenever we implement at a venue, we have a series of steps that we follow. The very first thing that we do is we tour the facility. And we tour it through the lens of where are all of their other waste stations, where are heavy traffic areas, exits, entrances, all of those sorts of things, so that we can understand where we want to make sure we place our return bins. So there's always a capture spot for the reusables. And then also, where are the best spots for signage and things like that, because there's so much about education from a reuse perspective. And then, like I said, we equip them with FAQs. We equip them with social media templates, so that they can do a lot of guest education via those particular mediums. And then we generally spend the first several events with our staffing it from our perspective, so that we're kind of creating the muscle memory. We're continuing to train, various staff members that might turn over from one event to the next. And then, like I said, just there's a ton of signage, and then we also provide environmental impact reports. So at the end of every event or every month, we actually show the venue exactly what they saved in terms of pounds of waste going to landfill, crude oil, water savings, energy savings, essentially the entire environmental footprint. Good.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you all.
Tina, and our world. We're trying to stay on time because we have a hard stop at 4 p.m. We got another segment, and right now we have a break. Please do take your cups and food stuff out into the lobby, and we have a break now from 2:25 to 2:40. You're going to want to hear the first speaker. It's Rebecca Jewell. You get to hear her talk about why she's leaving California and this job that she's been doing.